and things. So, all right, we are back again. Another episode, talking some old school Chaney football. We've got a return guest, as it were, off of the 90, 91, 92 playoff appearance and playoff winning teams. Mark Herron, multiple year starter at defensive back and receiver, played Division I football, and a part of the brotherhood, man. It's good to chat with you again, man.
Same thing, Kill, but you forgot punt returner as well.
Oh, punt return. I can't leave that out. Can't leave that out. Yeah, man. Well, we decided to circle back, man, with folks that we had access to in our social circle, and just talk a little bit more in depth, man, about people's individual stories, man. We got some flavor when you were in our group call and everything, but I wanted to just give you an opportunity, man, just to talk at length a little bit more about, your reflection on your playing career at Chaney. As much deep dive into the whole like recruiting story stuff. We tend to like that, and how you wind up selecting where you wind up going, and your playing career at the college level, man. We'd love to hear any more interesting stuff you got, man.
Okay, well, first of all, I didn't get to finish because it sounded very arrogant of me speak about how I should have been playing as a sophomore, and saying I didn't get to finish because we had went to a different point.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I believe that was one of the greatest gifts that Coach Burners had gave me, is because I understood he made me understand the difference of patience.
Okay. Okay.
Because all my life I started.
Right.
All my life in football I started. So therefore, once I came to Chaney and wasn't acclimated into the system immediately, I felt some type of way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then as we were in special teams, settle down. Not lift. Excuse me. But once I got acclimated into the system, I understood what Coach Burtis, along with Coach Mick, along with Coach Popio, Coach Saunders, everyone that was a part of that team. What they wanted us to do is it was more than individual.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It wasn't your individual talent that was going to lead us to victory, but it was your talent as a team that was going to lead us to victory.
Well, that's an interesting perspective, man, because having heard you say that, and then I reflect back, and as best I can try to remember your production, when you were a starter, and even comparing that honestly to some of the guys' production that were starting over you as a sophomore and everything, as I look back on, I'm like, well, yeah, it certainly seemed like, Mark or Wayne, Ron, could have matched that in retrospect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that there are some people that feel differently about that sophomore year. And it's like, well, yeah, that's a year you can't get back, another year of playing under our belt. And as good as we started to become the cornerstones of the team our junior year and senior year, how much better would all of us have been with some real run that sophomore year, So
we can look at that. We can look at that, Killer. Excuse me, Mr. Mellows. We can look at it in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But if we look at it as a perfect example, we talked about our college careers.
Mm-hmm.
I weighed 145 pounds going into the University of Toledo.
Wow. I thought you was at least like 160, 145?
No, 145 pounds.
Okay.
And me and Sylvester had came into the weight room. And when I see they clanking and banging, and I'm talking about weight.
Mm-hmm.
We had TJ, we had Bulls, we had Tim Cathy, all of them guys is in there, and I'm talking about. It seemed like they had every weight in the weight room on the bars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I looked at Sylvester. I said, Sil, I think we bit off more than we could chew.
Mm. Interesting. Okay.
I said, but then once the pass came on, you know what I'm saying, as a freshman, it was game time. I played like I played in high school,
Mm-hmm.
with eggs on my chest or on my shoulder, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because as a sophomore, I was upset that all the guys were starting over me. I was upset that, you know what I'm saying, that I wasn't getting the playing time that I believed that, you know what I'm saying, I worked for.
Mm-hmm.
But it taught me humbleness.
Now, 145, even as a DB at a D1 school,
It's small.
that and feeling like you should be on the field, I think that's a very different thing than like you're being a sophomore at Chaney, though. You know what I mean? So
Killer. Excuse me, Mr. Mellows. I started as a true freshman at 145.
right. But that's what I'm saying. Like to get that done there, and to say at Chaney as a sophomore, maybe I shouldn't have been you know what I mean? I was okay with not
That
starting.
was
That's the you know
that
what I
was
mean?
my that was my learning.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
my teachings.
Yeah.
That was me being humble.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? For the venture that's ahead.
Mm. Okay.
Well, and part of that, when you talk about comparing high school philosophy to college philosophy, a high school is built you towards a system. Um, a, they may be more clung to those ideas of tradition. Uh, in college, it's business. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
you're going to put your best product out there, regardless of what it looks like, because coaches don't have time to play favorites. Coaches don't have time to uh, wait for somebody to blossom. If you got it right from day one, you know in those
I gotta
competitive
win. I
environments
gotta win.
if you're in the mix or if you're not in the mix. So uh, it all comes down to what how many plays are you making with the reps that you're given. So if you're making
Mm-hmm.
plays and the other guy's not, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get more opportunities.
Exactly.
I agree 100% with you, Ron. But that's the difference between high school. But I didn't get to express to Coach Burgess, and I pray that he does get an opportunity to see this, is even through the challenges that he gave me, I was able to be a better player, a better person for through those changes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then having been on in those same shoes that Coach Burgess has been in, sometimes when you're looking at what's coming down the pike and what you got, you're grouping guys together. You might this year, even if I play this collective of kids, it might give us one more win.
Mm-hmm.
Versus letting them all gel together as one group, get familiar with each other, and then you elevate them the following year and usher out the guys who may not have as much team chemistry or as much athletic ability or natural talent. So, I could kind of see maybe where his philosophy might have been in terms of it being what year 3 for him, year 4 for him as a coach. You so you're coming through your first cycle of kids that would have been with you as freshmen. You're seeing small gains year to year, and then you got a core group of guys as seniors. When we talk about like Mac Aubrey, Stacy was added to that fold that year. The offensive linemen that they had at the time, they basically put a unit together to say, well, let's see what we can do with this group of guys. And then with us, this is all of our first year coming onto the team, period. So they don't have, any type of reference point with what we can do, what we can't do. So, we're grouped together as JV players, and we're making noise down there because I think the only teams that we lost to were Fitch, Boardman,
No, we
and
didn't.
Mooney.
No, we didn't lose to no.
We lost to Fitch, we lost to Boardman, we lost to Mooney on JV, but it was only by it was like 6-0 with Mooney. It was like 14 to maybe 6 with Fitch.
Right. What was our first play? What was our first play of every JV?
Was that tailback
what was
pass
our
or
first
something?
play? 27 pass, 27 sweet pass. We have never got 0.
No, yeah, but we
Ron, we have not, so therefore your theory is all out the box. There's not been no one who's kept us out the end zone.
Well, I don't think we scored. If you remember, it was foggy when we went and played them, and they scored 2 times in the fog, and then game was over. But
Ron is the one who didn't want to eat the Pizza Hut. You remember? You remember every Friday when you got Pizza Hut?
Yes, I do.
House?
Yeah.
Ron didn't want the Pizza Hut.
But think about that, though.
You have to get the rallies. You have to get the rallies back in the day, too.
Exactly.
Pre-game meal.
If you think about, if you're evaluating and you're seeing your younger group of guys kind of handling what's going to be everybody else's varsity coming up, you kind of start preparing for the future and making plans and repositioning people. So, I don't know if he was looking at us as individuals at all. I think he was always looking at us as a group, always looking at
I can see that.
We're gonna run. I don't care who starts. We're gonna run 26, 27. We're gonna throw the ball 5 times on a good day. We're gonna play 3 DBs.
Stack 4, stack 8.
Yeah,
Right.
I could see why that pathway to success over a sustained period of time probably did have to be, you're gonna fit into this 4-4. We're gonna run an I. It doesn't matter what you did before you came here.
Yeah.
If you can't lead block, if you don't want to tackle nobody, if you're not going to stop block, everything else that you're thinking about
is out the window.
Speaking of that, that commitment to a system and a philosophy, which, is a necessary thing, I think, as a coach. But at the same token, and again, it's funny, not thinking about this stuff for such a long time, but then kind of more recently, saying, I wonder how things would have been if we'd have done X, Y, Z. You mentioned the 4-4, Ron, right? The 4 backers out there when we had a plethora of guys in the defensive backfield. Everybody in our defensive backfield, play upper level college football. So why not take a outside B out and put another one of you guys out on the field? That's too radical.
We ran a 40 defense. We didn't run a 4-4. We ran a 40 defense. We didn't run a 4-4.
Okay, well, but the point is, we had 4 backers.
Exactly. I just
right.
But that's the difference between understanding college football and high school football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, to answer that is, nobody's throwing it more than, maybe 8 to 10 times a game in a high school game during our era. So, losing that one extra DB to trade it off for a guy that's stopping, 25, 35 runs per game. It was just the time we were caught up in.
Mark, one thing I didn't know what your college position was going to be or what you desired to be. I mean, you caught like 500 some yards worth of balls for us senior year, which is a lot for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
did you want to play receiver, or you like, nah, I want to play D back at the next level, or
Actually, you want to know what happened?
Mhm.
And that's a funny story because I thought everything was like high school.
Mhm.
Coach Parker, which was my defensive back coach, he's like, "So what you want to play?" He's like, "What position you want to play?" I like corner or receiver. He's like, "No, which one you want to play?" I said, "I want to play both of them."
Mm.
I said, "I want to go both ways."
At the
I
college
didn't.
level.
You know what I'm saying? And Little League, we went both ways. Junior high, we went both ways. College, high school, we went both ways. I thought we went both ways in college.
Mm.
So he's like, "No, you got to choose." He's like, because it was defensive back coach. I like, well, Coach Parker, I'll do defensive back. So they used to have a scout team. They used to have the scout team with going against the defense. And this was our third day in practice. And I ran a slant. And he had threw the ball out so far, the quarterback threw Ryan Hujat threw the ball out, and I grabbed it and brung it in. He's like, "Mark, I don't want to ever have you, don't ever go over on the offensive side again." He said, "I don't want you on, don't ever go on the on." I said, "Coach, I keep telling you I can play both sides." He said, "No." He said, "No, you only can play one side of the ball on college." I'm over here thinking that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, which make plays. He's like, don't ever take the ball again.
Wow.
You
now,
know
was
what I'm
that
saying?
because he
He just wanted
wanted
you
your
on deep.
ability on that side of
Right.
the ball?
Because he was the DB coach, so he wanted me as his defensive back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that was coming to my visits, as far as, you know what I'm saying, when I'm at basketball, you know what I'm saying, when we did our track run, you know what I'm saying? And want to tell you, he's an animal. He was actually All-American at Michigan State, free safety.
Oh, wow.
Coach Parker, you know what I'm saying? So honor is anything, you know what I'm saying? But he knew his game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference between high school, and I learned that actually from my sons. Because, you know what I'm saying, how far I advanced, because I actually played arena football for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you know what I'm saying, I'm looking at the high school coaches, and I'm over here critiquing them like, hey, no, hey, that's not how his footwork's moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody doesn't take that well to be critiqued.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm over here, hey, my sons, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Three out of four of my sons got scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
Division III, because you had talked about that as well earlier, Kenyon, when you said Division III doesn't give scholarships. Guess what? My son was the only one that I didn't have to pay a dime.
Well, you know, the money thing at Division III, even back when I was getting recruited,
it's hard.
There were some schools out there that basically had unofficial money for you. You know what I mean? For sure. So yeah.
And the guy, Coach Matt, he was a fan of ours. Chaney.
Okay.
And this is the reason why Mark got it, because he was a fan of Chaney. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. Wow. That's interesting.
So when my triplets, two of my triplets went up to West Virginia, settle down. went up to West Virginia and got, because all my kids got academic scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I got that from you, Killer.
Amen.
Killer, I'm not, I swear to God, I make you all, I like, dude, I don't care what y'all do athletic.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get this education.
Absolutely.
Hey,
And
can
I
we,
said, huh?
no, go ahead and finish your statement. I do have a question to ask you though. Going back to something you said earlier.
What?
No, so Kill had mentioned like your production and things in high school, and of course we all know because we were there to witness it. So like junior year to senior year, you have your breakout game against Howland as a receiver, and were always a great tackler on defense. Even going back to when we were kids, I always remember you being one of the hardest hitters in our league. But offensively, you were late to that
Mm-hmm.
position move because you and I started out playing against each other offensive and defensive line, and then our last year they moved you to running back, and that was the first time I had ever seen you as an offensive player in little league.
They get the ball. They're actually getting the ball.
Right, and you were even hard running the ball just as you were tackling on defense. So, when you make that move over to Chaney, what made you jump over to being a receiver and wanting to play on the outside anyway?
Far as little league,
No, just well, little league being the foundation because if I remember right, you started out as a center your
right?
first
You're
few
absolutely
years,
right. Center and
and
middle
then
linebacker.
right, 57.
Okay, now what happened was I went to Adams. Me and Dwayne had
Yeah.
to go to Adams. And once I played at Adams, you know what I'm saying, I was one of the fastest. Me and Dwayne were one of the fastest at Adams. So therefore they put us at receiver. And I tell you the truth, this is how I love punt returning. This is how because I never tried out for kickoff. What turned me on to punt returning was I had caught the ball and somebody, boom, as soon as I touched it. I said, this is a challenge. Because I was scared.
Mm.
I never got hit, you know what I'm saying, while my head was up and I didn't see what was coming. I was scared after that impact. And I said, guess what? I want to be a punt returner. I want to be a receiver. Because if you look at Austintown Fitch, and we were driving down, and Rick threw me across the middle pass, and the one linebacker hit me, boom, boom. As soon as I caught it, and I caught the ball, I laid the ball down. Let's go.
Yeah.
Anything in life, anything that I'm willing to give, I should be able to take.
So go back to 91, and I'm looking, I have the stats from our last 2 years because I took all the clippings coach let me have. So that junior year, you got 11 catches, 240, and 3 Ts. Now, the 3 Ts come that last regular season game of our junior season. And if I don't know for certain, but I think you might have had like 133 against Howland that last game with the 3 Ts. So half of that production for that season is in that last game going into our senior year. And then coming into our senior year, you're the main focal point of the passing attack. So with like going into that season offensively, coming off of that great game, as the last part of the regular season for your junior year, like what did you want to do? What did you want to accomplish? How did you think your season was going to go from the offensive side of the ball?
Well, Ron, you got to remember that was the first year as well. Off that season, that was the first year that we had Pascali.
Yeah.
So therefore, I thought we was about to open that. I thought we was about to open it up. I thought so. My expectations was I thought we was because I had Chuck, I had Ron, I had Dwayne, I had me. I thought we was about to light the scoreboards up. I thought because Coach Burtis we were killing them in Pascali's. Matter of fact, that's when I broke my collarbone against Ursuline. I had dove for a pass and I broke my collarbone at our field at Chaney. So therefore, I thought we was about, dude, I was like, is this what we about to do? Ron, I was so excited. I was so excited because I thought we was about to run the scoreboards up.
Now let me throw a couple more on you. So going into the senior year, and this is just regular season because the statistics don't account for the playoff part of our senior season. But you catch 27 passes for 511, and then you had how many? 27 for 511 with 4 touchdowns, 18.4 yard average. And then you have 5 picks with 214 return yards and 2 T's. Not to mention, you in the punt return game, I think you.
Ron, you got too many stats, man.
Yeah, but it's important because see now with us being older and being parents, when we recount this stuff to our kids, we don't really have the film all the time to back it up. So we end up sounding like we're telling tall tales. And it might not even sound like a lot of yardage compared to what they see in their era of football in this modern game where they sling it around a little bit more. But I'm only recounting this to demonstrate how important you were to our team, as one of those playmakers, as one of those leaders on our team. And that, it's not just you had a great senior season, but you've always been a person that has been an impact player regardless of what position you were playing. And I can say that from firsthand knowledge because I experienced it playing with you as a child. I was a teammate of yours, and you were the main guy that I threw the ball to when we were sophomores, and you made plays there. You come into our junior year, and we're a heavily run-oriented team because we have one of the best tailbacks in the area, which is Sylvester. He started merging, and we have to give Sylvester his credit because he ran with that same passion as all of us played with, right? But when it comes to that evolution and that elevation, so here you have a guy who started out as an offensive lineman and a middle linebacker who loves contact, transitioning into a guy who's getting a chance to be a receiver at the middle school level, transitioning to a guy who's a defensive back and a receiver candidate for a team that doesn't throw the ball a lot. You come to that last game of one of the greatest seasons in Chaney history where we go 9-1. We crack the playoffs for the first time. And you give a glimpse of what you're capable of the 10th game of the season by saying that if you give me 5 chances, I'm probably gonna put 3 of them into the end zone. You know what I mean? And it's not that you had these great routes. It's that you had this will and this determination to make the things happen because you're a football player. So when I look at those 27 catches and you have 4 T's and you have this outstanding average, and then you have 5 interceptions for 214 yards, that's 40 yards a return. two of them going to the house for teas. It's not about the pick and the run. It's about what you're doing to put your team in a position to win and to make sure that there's some gap between us. We function as players within the system, but it's a special type of player that's able to take those limited opportunities and turn them into so much. So that's why I point out, these 27 catches, but 500 yards, 5 interceptions, but 214 return yards. I have to get to the punt returns because they're crazy. Punt return.
Stop,
You
Ron. Stop,
have 12
Stop,
returns for
Stop,
300
Ron.
yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a 24.6 yard punt.
That's a nutty average.
So
that's a nutty average.
So when we talk about you, when we and we kid amongst ourselves because we're a crew. We've been with each other for so long, but it needs to be said and it needs to be made clear and plain how great you were, and not as a selfish person, but as a person who was just determined, driven, and willing to do whatever it took to make those
Stop,
type
Ron.
of plays, man. So for you to end up at Toledo, for you to start as a freshman, when you tell us that don't shock us. When you say you're 145 pounds getting that call, it don't shock us. You've always been that type of guy ever since I can remember.
Now that 145. I mean, that was a new one. I mean, I knew you was not a big dude. I figured you was, rolling a little heavier than that. But man, Herron, that's nuts, man, to get out there, man, at a freshman at that weight, man. That's crazy.
So tell us how you get that. How do you get to be a starter amongst those crew of guys coming out of Chaney, not even knowing what position you really gonna be at?
Because of you. Because
of
you.
I wasn't there, but tell us what you did.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It's because of you. It's because of Killer. It's because of Stacy. It's because of Sylvester. It's because of the things that we went through all our lives. It's High Street. It's full of polish. It's Ferndale because of the ruckus.
Glenwood, baby.
Because of Glenwood. McLean. It's because of you. How I can get through these things. It's because of every last one of us has struggled.
Amen. Amen.
These are the things that make me continue to do the things that I do. I will not quit. I will not give up. And we will always win. And when I say we will always win, it's we will always win. There is nothing, there's no obstacles. Killer, how the hell are you a doctor?
Well, it's interesting, man, when you were recounting like how you felt in that weight room, seeing those dudes up in there and saying like, hey man, maybe I bit off more than I could chew, right? On the academic front, man, I had that experience walking, coming to campus as a freshman there too, man. And I was just trying to draw a parallel between that notion of, maybe academically, do I really belong here? And the equivalent was, every person on the whole floor of our dorm room, every person had a PC computer back in 93, right? Exactly. They had their own personal, right?
And we don't got it.
Right.
And we don't got it.
Now, not only that, half of them know how to program a computer. They know C++, they know Pascal, they know the languages. And I've got to take a computer science class just because, like, that's just kind of how Case Western does it, right? And I'm like, dog, I don't even have a computer up in this joint. You know what I mean? And like, so that'll make you, that's the equivalent of seeing them dudes on the weight room there and they throwing up all that weight and you're like, oh my God, do I belong here? So I had that do I belong here moment, man. It's some scary stuff.
It
But
is.
like you said, it was also a notion of, you know what? I'm here. I can't go back. You know what I mean?
I gotta get it done.
I gotta get it done. But there's some real fear there, man. Absolutely.
And we talking about the things that I've achieved on the football field, the things that you have achieved in life, Killer. Can you hear me?
We losing?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Sorry.
Killer? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you back.
Okay. Killer, we talk about the things that we achieved on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
And please forgive me.
No, it's all good.
I get emotional when I think about you guys because I love you. When I tell you I love you, man, I love you.
Amen.
Ron already know I love you.
Oh, nothing but. It's always been that way.
You know what I'm saying? But Killer, I know the trials and tribulations that you have had to go through to achieve the things that you have achieved.
Yeah, man.
Piss poor preparation promotes piss poor pain. Or excuse me, piss poor performance promotes piss poor. I can't get
it out.
Come on now, CTE. We got some CTE going.
Oh no.
12P. Piss poor performance promotes piss poor. Piss poor performance promotes piss poor. I can't get out.
But
I'm emotional right now. I can't get everything.
Hey, Mark, I'm just curious, man. We were talking to Sylvester. You're our teammate and your roommate up there at Toledo. Went through the process with you. He was telling us some, a little more detail about some recruiting stories, including,
He's a horrible roommate.
Oh no, we aren't gonna go there just yet, but we may get to that.
Roommate.
Well, he was telling us that he actually, I think it was Miami of Ohio committed to him before Toledo, and then he winds up, when you commit to Toledo, and then they come back and offer him, that kind of sealed the deal. I guess I'd be curious, man, who else offered you, lock, stock, and barrel? Hey, man, we want you, sign here. And was there any back and forth with the commitment thing? Any D2 stuff in the mix that you seriously considered, or you know what I mean?
No, I didn't get any offers from D2 or D3. All my offers was D1. I got Big Ten offers.
Okay, who was that? Was that Purdue or?
Purdue.
Yeah,
Northwestern.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting that you would get D1 offers and not D2 offers, or Ron, is that one of the situations where
I didn't respond to them.
Okay, got you.
Well,
I didn't respond.
Part of that too is when coach knows that D1 is hot on you, when the inquiries come from those lower levels, they'll tell those guys that, and they'll wait until after signing day to see if there's anything left.
Yeah.
That's D2's.
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
So you mentioned right off the bat, Purdue or Northwestern offer, right?
Yeah, Indiana.
Okay.
Michigan
offered?
Huh?
Michigan offered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you, and this is, guess what? Guys, if you don't get your GPAs up, guess what? This is what will happen. Northwestern was offering me, and they required a 3.0 GPA.
Okay.
And they said, what is your GPA? My GPA at the time was 2.0.
Okay.
So therefore, I could not achieve that scholarship.
They basically they said, look, if you don't got that, that's so
No,
not even like a test, like a good ACT could make up for it or anything like that.
no,
No. Okay.
no,
Mm-hmm.
no, and that's what a lot of our Black kids are not understanding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
get your shit together and get your ACT
Mm-hmm.
together and your GAP or your GPA together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, in retrospect, I mean, Northwestern, obviously Big Ten. They can occasionally have a year or
And
two.
Indiana, I'm sorry, and Indiana, I'm
And
sorry.
Indiana had that same requirement for that high
No,
GPA.
Indiana offered me.
Okay. Okay. So the whole, Big Ten versus MAC deal, obviously, you guys had a great year, the 95 year in particular, bowl wins. I think you guys 11-2. Certainly, I would think that those better Toledo teams would be comparable playing to like a North. And you guys played those guys like North. Wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
max? Yeah.
We
So
played all of them.
all of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Indiana and Purdue.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Now, the thought that you'd be able to have a crack at an Ohio State or a Michigan, though, year in and year out, if you'd have went to the Big Ten, how much did that come into play? If
That
at all.
it didn't come into play. First and foremost, you got to remember I was upset at that time.
Okay.
This is recruitment time.
Mm-hmm.
I was upset. So therefore, Coach Cooper actually was at the head coach at O State. Coach, what was the Penn State coach?
The Penn State coach? Or was it Paterno still?
Yeah, no, not Paterno. Was it Paterno?
In
Yeah,
90,
Turner was the head coach.
in 92 and 93, I think it still would have been Penn State, but Paterno. Yeah.
Cause you remember I went to I'm about to say B-33s.
The Big 30.
The Big 33.
Uh-huh.
So you know what I'm saying? So I played against those guys that was going to the big schools.
So you were upset about not getting an offer from O State or Penn State or Michigan when you say you were upset in general. Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Now that would have seemed to be like, okay, I want to get in that conference. So I definitely get my shot every year to tear O State up. You know what I mean? That's what I'd have thought.
I could kill her. I couldn't. They didn't offer me.
Oh, I meant like maybe going to like an Indiana or a Purdue, say for instance,
Oh no,
where you would get your shot. Okay.
Because I already knew where they was at.
Okay.
They weren't at the competing stage of playing against O State.
From what I gathered,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, from what I gathered, there's a decent amount of guys on all those rosters at the middle to lower tier Big Tens. They got chips on their shoulder because they didn't get the offer from an Ohio State and whatnot. So
exactly.
Right. So
you know what I'm saying? But the thing is this. You're playing a game where okay, well I could boom, prime example. I said I'm not gonna play at Purdue because I had Purdue, I had Indiana, Purdue, Indiana, and I can't think of I can't think of the other Northwestern.
Yeah.
And then all the MAC schools. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, Ron had more knowledge of the recruiting business than I did. Because Ron actually helped me a lot. You know what I'm saying? He was the reason why I chose Toledo. He doesn't even know that.
So without his input, were you leaning somewhere else, or again?
It wasn't even that I was leaning somewhere else. It was just that it was an uncharted venture.
Yeah, yeah. We talked about that, me and Ron, off camera, about how the recruitment process in general for everybody, there's very little guidance with it that any of us get.
It's
You know what
not.
I mean? And so which I thought was kind of a strange thing, given how important that winds up being, your college choice and all that kind of stuff. It seems like a weird thing that there's not more formal instruction by, the coaches, and I know I do wonder sometimes what their incentive always is. Once you finish playing for them, like how big a deal is it for them to guide you and get you to a good spot? I think that varies tremendously, probably from program to program. We know the academic counseling, from the administration and the school part of it, I didn't think they did that great a job in terms of just normal academic advising for students. And certainly on the athletic side of things, they don't have much to offer. So it struck me as kind of a Wild West kind of thing. And I don't think it should be that way. Now, Ron, you, Mark, got kids that are in athletics. Mark, shepherded some of yours all the way through the college process. Listening to Sil, who I don't even know if his dad was an athlete or whatever, but just having his dad there to just kind of ride along with him, and so it's just interesting how little guidance there is in that whole thing for a lot of us.
It's the lack of knowledge, because guess what? Every last one of them have attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how much we know.
Mm-hmm.
They already got everything signed back. What do they do? What did you sign? Killer, what did you sign? No, hold on, Ron. Killer, what did you sign? What did you sign?
Well, in my case, I didn't have a scholarship to sign, so I signed loan papers. I signed some academic scholarship papers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You sign a document that you have really lack of knowledge of.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? We're not talking about just football.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about or basketball or sports. We're talking about what we continuously do, because they give us give us documentation and say sign.
Mm-hmm.
And we continuously do it.
So and I get what you're saying. So, but we do have to put it in perspective, because they're, on one hand, from the institution's point of view, they're looking to get the best labor, if you will, that they can.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously offering us something that we want, from a competitive standpoint. And then, for us, a lot of us didn't have that parent that had been through that process. Now, for me, I was lucky, because my dad at least knew what the landscape was from playing basketball at YSU. So while he didn't go with me on those recruiting visits, he did prepare me for what to expect, when I would go to these universities and the things that I should be asking for. But when it comes down to picking, Chuck said it best. You go where you feel wanted. You go where you can envision yourself, fulfilling whatever that desire is that's inside of you, whether it be to be a starter, to be an All-American, to just go and get your degree,
I agree, Ron.
to have fun. So when me and Mark went on our recruiting visit to Toledo, Miss Herron came with us. My mom did not. And I asked her not to go, because you're hitting 18, you want that independence as a man to make some of your own decisions. It was a weekend getaway trip. I was going with one of my best friends that I've had throughout my life. I was looking at Toledo
And I'm still
for
here.
the football. I was looking at it from the academic side because they had some programs that interested me. The distance was perfect for me from Youngstown to Toledo. It was far enough away from Youngstown, but close enough to get back. So
Mhm.
when we went, they paired us together. They paid for our hotel stay. Miss Herron had a room of her own. Me and Mark were together. And then, they paired us with some guys and took us through the whole bells and whistles. Have the jersey with your number in the locker, walking you through with the
What
whole
you're
rest
not
of the
gonna get.
yeah, right. Ryan Hughes is wearing my number already,
Uh-huh.
so that's a done deal. But they take you through that experience, and when you walk through, I see Mark's number in the locker. I see what I think is my number in the locker, but it's just the quarterback's number, at the time. But they rolled it out for us. You know what I mean? They paid for everything. They hooked us in with some dudes that kind of fit what they probably thought we were in terms of personality.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and did some of the party thing in Toledo. We went over to Bowling Green and hung out. Saw the Waylon Alexander, who was from Wilson. They took us to a little teen club or whatever. That's your first interaction with Detroit style women, Ypsilanti style women, Toledo women, Bowling Green women. That this
Uh-huh.
is different than what we experienced in Youngstown, right?
Mm.
So the campus is great. They have modern athletic facilities, a great student union. How many courts at the time, Mark? Like 10
Yeah.
athletic center. So you see 10 laid out brand
Oh,
new courts.
Toledo is laid out.
Mm.
Yeah, nice press box, great football offices. So it's inviting. And then, when you're looking around and seeing the guys that already play there, you're doing that mental comparison, like, oh, that's the starting safety, that's the starting receiver, that's the starting DB. And you're sizing those people up because you're trying to envision, like, can I compete with the guys that they already have here? And will I fit into this system? So they wanted Mark bad. They we ran up phone bills in the hotel. We ordered room service. And when we came down the next morning, Coach Steckel came, and when he saw the bill, he's looking at me and Mark like, y'all got this to cover? Now, me and Mark, no, we ain't never had no job. Our moms don't have no money. And we turned to Steckel and we like, nah. So he pulls
Coach
out a
Stecker.
card and
Coach
sends it.
Stecker. Exactly.
Mm. Wait, this was the head man, Steckel?
Nah,
He was
the guy that came and picked us up.
Coach Steck. What was Coach Steck? I can't remember.
Did he coach the D line or was that Kulagowski?
Defense coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was either a defensive line or defense coordinator, and Coach Kulagowski was the defensive. It was vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever one, what I'm saying, is flip flop.
So they
no.
handled that bill for y'all.
But they didn't have a choice.
Because we had $5 in our pocket.
They have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing as well. They attract recruiters. You don't even understand. Say if Ron, first and foremost, let me say this. And I'm saying this like I said it in Youngstown, and I said in Youngstown Chaney. There is not a player that I played with, and I'm talking about us, that could not have started at the University of Toledo.
Well,
every last one of us could have started. You want to know what coach? God dog it, which coach is that? Our running back coach. He was like, oh my God. He was just looking at I showed him our highlight tape. He said, dude, because I was showing him for Dwayne, because Dwayne at that time wasn't getting a lot of looks. Because Coach Burtis wasn't pushing him. You know what I'm saying? Coach, God, dog, I can't think of his name. Not Coach Adams. Our running back coach, I can't think of his name. Our running back coach was like, Mark, I'm being honest with you. Only person that your coach was promoting was you and Sylvester.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't even like to express that. But I feel as though that you guys are over that.
Well, I mean, certainly when I look at Ron in particular, and and again, I see what you were on the field as a freshman. Sylvester was able to start up there and whatnot. There's absolutely no doubt Ron and of course, and Dwayne goes and plays at YSU and is a multi-year starter and the captain. There's no doubt about what you're saying there, particularly with respect to Ron. I was a little bit of a tweenerish type of dude to play at that D1 level, but if I put my mind to it, for sure, and I put all my effort into it, I'd have got on that field eventually. Probably not as a freshman, but But yeah, I was really surprised, that Ron didn't wind up, getting offered along with you guys up there, because I'm sure.
He said that there has never been that much talent on one team that he has ever seen.
Watching our film, that's interesting. Your
Yeah.
coach, okay. Well, we had a good squad, man. I mean, and as they were talking about when they were recounting the 91 team, Dallas and Coach, to make the playoffs in our era when they only took like 4 teams for the region. I mean, that's a big deal, man. I mean, you had to be something back then to make the playoffs. And we were. I mean, no doubt about it. And to knock off, and then to go to our senior year and knock off the 2-time defending state champs, the way we did. I mean, we had something now, no doubt.
Mark, I got a question for you.
Mark, you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
My fault.
Okay. So, just kind of jumping into the college part of your experience. So, like, can you tell me, like, that first venture onto the field in a game atmosphere where you're getting that first start as a DB? Do you remember who it was against?
That was not my first start.
No, I know you had the punt return first.
No, that was my first start. That was my first play of collegiate football.
It was a punt return?
Right.
The punt return.
Okay.
Right, but what I'm asking is that first start where you get the call at DB in that college game, and you're going out there, first team defense. Do you remember who that was against?
I don't remember who it was against. I know it was either God dog it, who was it against? I don't know who it was against.
Okay.
I really don't even know who my first punt return was against.
Oh,
because it was when you guys. I have never been that guy to keep accolades. I don't have one trophy. I don't even have none of our our Vegas Bowl rings.
Really? Okay.
I am not that guy. I believe trophies collect dust.
They do.
Well, the question is centered around, that difference in approach and scheme, expectation, skill level, going from that high school level where you kind of, it comes
I
in
know
a
what you're
cookie
talking about.
cutter box in
What we
high
talked about
school.
earlier.
Right. So when you get into those first games of playing that first year as a defender, and you're kind of growing into your technique of what you're being taught at that point, like how is that adjustment for you from our technique in high school where we're just essentially covering a third and watching the play develop and then attacking the ball, but having to take care of a responsibility or
Mhm.
shifting from zone to man. How was that for you that first year?
The biggest thing that I was dealing with was stepping in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand what the hell my coach was talking about. Mark, you keep stepping in the bucket. That was pulling your lead foot, putting your lead foot, pulling it back. That's stepping in the bucket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which lets your receiver have your inside position because now you have to lead towards them, and then they can adjust because now you got your lead foot or your lead foot, you got it backwards. That's
Right.
why you should have your feet parallel.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? And these were situations where boom, I had to learn. I tell you the worst game that I've ever had in my life was against West Virginia in West Virginia.
Mm.
And why is
The
that?
senior receiver, he only did 2 plays on me. He tapped his head for a slant and tapped his right leg for go.
Mm.
And I didn't figure it out.
Hmm.
I didn't figure it out until after the game. And guess what? I got pulled.
Mm.
This was my freshman year. I
Okay.
got pulled. And he was like, coach was like, Mark, what are you doing? What is it? And I'm in tears. I'm in freaking tears.
So I'm glad you said that because that was the basis of my line of questioning is that growth process that you go through transitioning, from being a high school player or being a standout at one level and then having to go through a whole nother retooling in terms
That
of what you
failure.
are and how you play and getting matched up against somebody who may either have better technique than you or be better than you at that time or at that moment. It just kind of resets you and it
Mhm.
actually pushes you to become either more aggressive, more skilled in uh, whatever position that you play. Whereas in high school, if you're a certain type of player or a certain type of playmaker, you can live off of that for 2, 3 years
You
without
can get
ever
off.
really growing. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
And you can get
So,
off.
so like, so that's your first venture and your first memories of those initial early days of playing. So who's that one guy that you can remember, like when you went up to go give that big stick and that signature hit, and you feel like, okay, this guy is on another level than I am.
Oh, Margot Allstott.
Oh, take us through that.
Margot Allstott. I'll tell you that story all day long. Let me tell you this. I actually broke a record. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually broke a record fucking with him. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. Messing with him, I actually broke a record. I had 20 24 or 27 tackles and 24 or 27 solo tackles against him.
Wow.
I told my lineman, I said, if I have to hit him one more time by myself, I'm letting him go. We're
Okay.
gonna start when I tell you that he is all man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about I'm hitting him in his knees, I'm hitting him in his thighs, I'm hitting him in his side. I'm giving him everything I got. And that man just get up and put his knee pads up and then trot back to the huddle. I said, man, are you serious?
Wow.
I have never met anybody that took my best that many times.
Right. And
Well,
we all have those moments. Did you have any of that, Kill, at Case? Like when
at
you
Case.
meet that one guy though that you like, okay, this isn't the regular guy
Mark
from
Allstott,
whatever.
Mark Allstott is a
No.
man. Let me just say that.
Well, I mean, that's one of the last true real fullbacks, that wind up beasting out in the league, man. And I mean, so I can imagine that, man. But the answer is, to your question, Ronnie, is no. I didn't have no Mark Allstott type moments with anybody or anybody with that level of like talent at the D3 level that I ran into. I mean, those guys are they're so scattered and peppered around, so no.
Killer. Mark Allstott is a man.
You ain't got to tell me, man. You ain't got to tell me nothing.
So for me,
right.
it's
I was in the ice tub for 3 days.
For me, mine came in the playoffs our freshman year, and if you know about Edinburgh, it snows like crazy once you to the end.
Yes,
so we didn't even get to practice out on a field the whole week leading into our playoff game. We're going to play New Haven, and we're standing on the tennis courts, right?
I'm listening.
So they're telling us second team guys to get mental reps because the first team they're just standing out on the tennis courts, lining up in our coverages and talking through what we're gonna do on Friday, right? Or Saturday. So we fly to Connecticut. Me and Chuck. This Chuck's first time on a plane. We go stay in the hotel in New Haven, and we don't have any idea about this New Haven team. Like we watched the film, but like they're not in our region. You don't know none of the guys that go there. So we get up there. We play at the Southern Connecticut State Stadium, and it's a night game, and we're like 7 plays in, and the guy I back up gets hurt, and they're like, "Get in there." And I'm like, "Okay." I haven't had an actual rep all week long. When they were telling me to watch, and I'm like, I don't even know what coverage they talking about over there. Oh, right. So I'm in the game in this first round playoff game, and these guys are coming out 4 wides, 1 back, and this slot receiver is twisting and turning me around. They throw at me 3 straight plays, and he just happens to either get overthrown, bobble the ball, or get underthrown. For the 3 straight plays, they went right at me, and I realized in that moment, like I wasn't ready for this moment. I wasn't up to par for this level of football.
But Ron, that's what I was talking about. The high school, it reflects back to Chaney and what we was talking about for initially, far as that we weren't ready for varsity.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? I mean, because guess what, Mooney, even the kickoffs was fast.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Even the kickoff, I'm angry that I didn't play, but I understand now about the speed of the game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? The speed of the game is totally different. Like when I was a senior, dude, that game was so slow. Dude, I
You see
was over here
everything.
picking. I was picking teams off like it was just. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm over here making. Y'all seen the you guys watched the Las Vegas Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was so slow to me to where, dude, I already know where you're going. Okay, blah, 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 okay.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? But you have to have, you got to have that pressure in order to win. Louisiana Tech, I give you a prime example. Louisiana Tech, this was my my junior year. So this was the first year that I was playing free safety. Sylvester had got benched, you know what I'm saying, and they had got sent back over to offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing free safety, and then for Louisiana Tech, we were playing a cover 2 defense. And what you were saying, Ron, far as, dude, them white boys was chow, 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 chow. I come over to the sideline, excuse me. I come over to the sideline, and they over in the stands. Oh, them white boys fast, ain't they? Guess what I did? Took a sip of Gatorade. Yeah, they are. Dude, they beat us 77 to 20 something.
Ooh. Did they have was that Troy Edwards on that team?
Yep.
Oh man, that dude was nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
After that game, my defense coach gave me the playbook and it was like, Mark, the team is yours. The defense is yours.
Mm.
Because I was telling him all along, because I was in the defensive meetings. I'm like, Coach, this is not going to work with this. This is not going to work against them because we're playing like a cover two shell,
Yeah.
and they had the quarterback went to the league, and 3 of their receivers went to the league.
And Troy Edwards, he probably had like 1,900 yards receiving one of them years. I mean, he was like a leading guy for the top receiving award.
He probably did it against us.
He actually, one last point about him, he actually even lit up that 95 Nebraska team, man. And that was a legendary team. That dude went out there still and put it on them. That's just how awesome he was.
When I tell you he lit us up, he lit us up.
It's always levels to it. Hey, gentlemen, I hate to cut this shorter, but this ain't gonna be our last joint. We're gonna get some more in and whatnot. But I did have like 8:15 as a kind of a hard stop, and we pushing 8:20 and whatnot.
Okay.
I just got my last question for you, and then I'm good. So saying all of that, what was your best moment or summation of your time playing at that level?
You asking me, Ron, or
Yes,
Killer?
absolutely. You
of Toledo or Chaney?
Toledo.
Toledo, one of the best. I would say one of the, because it's always good when it's personal. One of my boy Rob Whitfield, his brother was actually the star tailback for Eastern Michigan, and actually Charlie Backs. I intercepted Charlie Backs 3 times that game, and that was probably one of my best games or best moments. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know he was going to go to the league or not, but but for his parents, but for his parents to come like, man, you did your thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the top things that I could say that I enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? Because you really don't get parents usually be like, oh, he cheated, or you know what I'm saying, give explanation of why their kid did that, and we want.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the best things, and I'm going back to Chaney, one of the best things, and I always will remember, is that we were undefeated in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
man.
Yeah.
As always, man, and this just, from 81 to right
Mm-hmm.
now,
Mm-hmm.
you always, regardless of, any growing pains that any of us have gone through, you've always been a solid foundational person. You're someone that I trust. If I had to go somewhere that I was a little bit sketchy and hesitant to go, you'd be one of the first people I would call to roll with me, because you're you've always been that loyal of a person. You've always been ready to meet challenges head on. You don't need the explanation. You don't need the full story. You just need to know that somebody that you care about is
Mm-hmm.
in need, and you're right there, Johnny, on the spot. I see
Mm-hmm.
that in your fatherhood. It always showed up in your play, and you've been one of the most consistent friends that I've had, whether we talk often or not. So, you keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep leading your boys,
Amen.
and you keep that spirit about yourself, because those of us that know you, we ain't never forgot it and never will. You just that
Mm-hmm.
type of person for real.
Yes.
Ron
Absolutely, man.
Killer, Ron Killer, I always love you.
Same here, brother. Same here.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I, only reason why I passed biology is because of Killer.
Oh, hey, Kill got dishes to do, so we better get off of here,
Oh
man.
man. Exactly. Domesticated, man. We all are. Great.
Before my boys leave, I want you guys to all see them, man. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, if they are, I think they went to work already. Hold on.
Oh, they out there getting that paper, huh? Here.
Oh man, they always. Baby, the boys leave. Oh, they already left. Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'll definitely,
we
I'll
yeah,
definitely.
we definitely got to just get a get another group Zoom call. Just shoot the crap, man. Get Sil back on here, Dwayne, Charlie, everybody, man.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you even you and Ron even starting this, man, because you guys
Well,
so
oral
often,
tradition and
so
oral
often.
history is important, man. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Stuff's got to be laid down, permanent. We can look back on, and some of these memories, man. Most of them ain't gonna fade, of course, but some of them may fade with time. Get that stuff out there. I think that was the whole impetus behind Dallas doing the thing with Coach. You know what I'm saying? Get
Right.
get some of that stuff out there before he can't do it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Yeah.
I hope Coach Burtis listened to what I was saying
I
because
know
I didn't
Dallas
I
has watched
wasn't
these. I know Dallas has, so maybe he is too.
because I ain't even talk about Coach Mick.
Oh,
You know what I'm
Mick.
saying? Coach Mick, no, Coach Mick called me in Las Vegas when we was having the Las Vegas Bowl, man. Coach Mick was always loyal, man. And Coach Mullally, you know what I'm saying? We have so many aspirations and so many people, Miss Grant,
Mm,
Miss Ross, you know what I'm saying? So many people that we don't even look at as they was a part of our futures, as part of our presence. and it's a part of our past. You know what I'm saying? And we don't give them those, they're just due.
Yeah.
Do you know Coach Mullally used to give me food baskets?
I did not know that.
Man, he used to send every month, he used to send me a food basket to my whole freshman year.
Is that right? Wow.
He played an attribute or a big part of my life now.
That's good to hear, man. Don't hear much about Coach Mullally, man. But
Because
we all got folks that poured into us, man.
you got to remember him and Mullally, him and Coach Burtis was adversaries. You know what I'm saying? So for him to pull me back into football, man, it just showed that it wasn't an ego thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, you don't even know this. I had told Ron this. I just told Ron this. You know, I had quit my senior year.
No.
I had quit football my senior year.
No, I did not know that.
Coach Mullally told me that he ain't dealing with me no more if I quit my senior year.
Mm. How about that? How
You know
about
what I'm
that?
saying? He's like, Mark, you have a chance to make a difference. You have a chance to go D1. He said, yeah, you can play D2, D3 at basketball. He said, but you have a chance to play D1 in football.
Mm-hmm. How about that?
So I have a lot of love for Coach Mullally.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All
But
right.
we're gonna end it. We're gonna
Yeah,
end it
man.
with that.
All right. We're gonna do it again. I appreciate you fellas' time, man. I get this
No,
up in a day or so. Okay.
I enjoy every last one of you guys.
All right. Till next time, bros.
One.
Peace.